thank you all for joining on this session to find out a little bit more about volunteering with BCS and how to get the most out of membership. My name is John Jeffrey and I head up the community team. We support over 700 volunteers who contribute to providing learn opportunities for members like yourselves. And they also contribute into outreach activities locally, so supporting their local communities, schools, local businesses, and so on. With me today, I have Olivia. Olivia, if you'd like to quickly just say hello.
Hi, everyone. My name's Olivia. I work in the membership team here at BCS, and I'll be delivering part of your session this afternoon.
Thank you, Olivia. And we'll also have Alistair Revel, Vice President for the Community Board. And we'll get a proper chance to meet Alistair in just a moment once we've just ran through this agenda. But before we start proper, just a comment on housekeeping. As I mentioned, if you could please keep your mics off for now and your cameras off, just to help with bandwidth. There is a chat option available to you on Zoom if you're familiar with Zoom. If not, it is a speech bubble, and you can type any questions, thoughts, comments that you have, and I'll be coming back to those questions or comments when we get to the Q&A part of this presentation. So just a reminder to what you signed up to today. In this session, we'll be exploring, the why. So why does volunteering matter? Things that you should be considering. So if you'd like to get involved in BCS, you'd like to volunteer, what are the things that you should be reflecting on before taking advantage of one of these opportunities? What resources are out there to help you with the next steps? And we'll be going into some of the kind of opportunities available. So initial signposting, which later in the week we'll be going into more deeper dives. So we've got webinars in the evenings and afternoons to kind of cover off some of the detail, as well as kind of just other ways that you'd like to contribute. So this is all about the signposting and just giving you a kind of entrance into what opportunities are across the BCS volunteer community, and to give you a chance to understand if volunteering with BCS is right for you. So then let's get started. I'm delighted to introduce you all to Alistair Revel, Vice President of the Community, and he'll be sharing some of his views on why volunteering matters. Over to you, Alistair.
Thank you, John. Much appreciated. So as John says, I'm Alistair Revel. I'm the Vice President for Community, which means that I chair the Community Board, which is responsible for all aspects of membership, whether that's organisational or individual, all the member groups worldwide, which there is over 100, as well as the Institute's engagement with organisations. In reality, the lion's share of volunteering is done within the community. So I think that's probably why I'm the VP who's being put in front of you this afternoon. I am very proud and incredibly humbled by what our volunteers actually do achieve, particularly during the pandemic and with so many going over and beyond what was expected. Volunteers are essential to BCS. Income is always tight within any charity, but our volunteers enable us to make IT good for society. I want to reflect just for a moment on what BCS actually is. It might help set the scene a little bit. We are a Royal Charter professional body, which gives us an edge. It gives us authority. We are a charity, and we've been on a mission to ensure everyone's experience with technology is positive, and we've been committed to that mission since 1957. In particular, we work hard to push and deliver a more competent and ethical profession, one that works for everyone in society, and something that we as members are particularly proud to be part of. We're very focused on tomorrow, ensuring we have the right technology, the right knowledge and skills, and the need to support this. But let me reiterate again, member contributions are essential to BCS achieving its aims. Without volunteers, quite literally, we wouldn't be able to achieve our Royal Charter, whether that's individuals working with teachers to inspire the next generation, or be it our trustees helping to provide leadership and governance to our organisation. Let's just consider who volunteers within BCS. Well, first of all, if you add them up, there is somewhere in the region of maybe 1,000 plus across the whole organisation volunteering in all sorts of different ways. That can be, for instance, within member groups, as that could be branches, specialist groups, or international sections. It could be student chapters. It could be as assessors, assessing CITP or CEng, RI Tech, or a whole load of other qualifications that we offer. It could be within central governance. It could be sitting on boards within the institute. And there are a whole load of others that I haven't mentioned, but I know that Olivia and John will mention later on as this presentation progresses. But the people who are volunteering, some of them are in their early careers. They're exploring the profession and they're finding that volunteering is a useful way of doing that. There are people in their mid-careers who perhaps are fed up with the lack of professionalism and want to do something about it. There are people in their later career who want to give back. They feel they've got a great deal out of this wonderful profession of ours, and they want to make sure that they're leaving some form of legacy. There are people who are retired, who've got lots of time and experience and feel that they still have a lot more to give. All of them are helping make IT good for society. Now, there are all sorts of volunteering opportunities. I'm just going to focus for a moment around some of the ones in sort of governance. So governance includes sort of the branch committees, the specialist group committees, student chapter committees, and leading those as well as chair, vice chair, or treasurer, or secretary. And then there are the various central governance committees within BCS, of which there is a myriad. Just within community, there are the Community Support Committee, Finance Committee, Fellowship Committee, Fellowship Technical Advisory Group, Health and Care Exec, Early Career Exec. You get the picture. Lots of opportunities. And that's just within community. And often members don't realize that outside of community, there are things like the Academy with the Academy Board, Influence Board, Registration and Standards Committee in its reporting groups, and a whole load more. I could go on, but there is a lot to volunteer for. And then in the higher echelons, you could become elected as a member of council to help steer the organisation forwards. Some of those members of council who are basically provide advice to the trustees actually become trustees, council elected trustees. And then there are people who become vice presidents. And then at the very apex, there is the president, deputy president, and immediate past president. Community Board is starting to develop volunteer pathways to help and develop our volunteers so that we have a really good team of volunteers. So this is really important. It's something I'm quite passionate about. So why volunteer? Well, whenever I talk to people in any professional body, just not the BCS in particular, but any professional body, they always tell me that it wasn't until they started volunteering in that organization that they actually unleashed the return on investment in their membership. In other words, it really pays back big time for those individuals. What you get out is disproportionate to what you put in, basically, as an individual. What you do probably depends on your age and experience and what you bring to the party, essentially. But it is a two-way street, in my opinion, particularly. It's not just what you can give, but also what enriches you as a professional as well. So for those people in early careers, it may be picking up soft skills that employers don't seem very keen on providing people at the early parts of their career. That's sort of chairing and perhaps public speaking and other bits and pieces. Then in mid-career, there is the fact that you can take away the fact you've built up a whole load of experience in those areas and perhaps use them in your career. And then for people in their later career, it's bringing back in the business experience, which is so valuable to BCS to ensure that we continue to make IT good for society. And for the retired, they've just got super amounts of time and often energy to give. So my own personal experience, if I just dwell on that for a moment, I started volunteering in my late teens, early 20s, actually, around about university. And I got involved with the Prince's Trust, not the BCS, but the Prince's Trust. So that was back in my early 20s, and I picked up a huge raft of soft skills, such as chairing meetings, minuting, interviewing people, public speaking, and I started to develop my leadership skills back then. And I realize now, many years later, as you probably realize, that I've been using those skills over and over and over again as my career has progressed. I was also back then working with vastly more experienced people than myself, and I learned a huge amount from them. Some of them were sort of essentially mentoring me, I guess. And to be honest, I've realized, as I've reflected on that as I volunteered into my 30s and 40s, etc., I actually have continued to build on the next decade in my career in terms of what I pick up from the volunteering. It is hugely valuable. And I am extremely sure that in volunteering for the BCS, you will considerably boost the value that you already find in your membership. So I think, John and Olivia are now going to progress with the presentation and tell you how you can do it and give you some signposts. So if you do volunteer for us, which I hope you will, good luck, and I'm sure you will really enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Alistair, and really appreciate you taking the time to speak to so many of our members today to kind of give a bit of insight.
No problem.
On your experiences volunteering personally and with BCS. So hopefully that's inspired a few of you to think about kind of what you'd like to do and hear a little bit of that first-hand experience of volunteering. Just to stay on the why for a moment, I'm just going to come back to a couple of comments made by Alistair Revel. So we are a charity with a Royal Charter, and at BCS we're on a mission to ensure that everyone's experience with technology is positive, and it's something we've been doing for quite a while. So we've been doing it since 1957. As part of our mission, we work hard to push and deliver a more competent and ethical profession, and that represents everybody in society and something that we're all proud as a community to be a part of. We're also very focused on tomorrow, ensuring that we have the technology, knowledge, skills needed to support this. Member contributions are essential to BCS achieving its aims, and without volunteers, quite literally, we wouldn't be able to operate. Whether it's individuals working with teachers to inspire the next generation, or our trustees governing our organisation, we're made up of over 1,000 members contributing in lots and lots of different ways. So within this slide, it just gives you a bit of idea of our scale, really. So with 60,000 members, we operate in 155 countries. Just within our member groups community, we've got 50 regional branches, 40 student chapters, 11 international sections, and 50 specialist groups who work on development and practice. All of this, I say, is made possible by members sharing expertise, collaborating as professionals and building an ethical professional industry, inspiring the next generation and shaping the future of our society. Our strength as an organisation is our collective impact, and using that collective impact, we really can make IT good for society. So this session and the deep dives across the next week will provide you with the knowledge about various volunteering options available with BCS. But to help you in selecting what volunteering you'd like to get involved in, it is important to kind of spend a moment to kind of self-reflect, understand what opportunities are right for you, ensuring that you get the most out of your volunteering experience. What do you want to achieve? It might sound really obvious, but having that intention around what you want to achieve in your volunteer work is really important. In helping you map your wants against your opportunities in the organisation, considering what are your primary drivers. Do you want to give back? Is it about learning new skills, or is it about meeting new people? Do you want to share your expertise? Having an intention around your volunteering will help ensure that you have a rewarding experience. And we don't want volunteering to feel like a chore. We don't want to feel like it's another thing that you do on top of your day job. We want it to be really kind of rewarding, positive experience for you. The other important question to ask is kind of the commitment that you can make. So volunteering needs to be compatible with your work-life balance. Some options that we're going to talk about today will be more demanding on your time, meaning that you'll need to consider how it fits into the rest of your life. But we find many of our volunteers are able to kind of make their work-life balance compatible and with their professional development plans. And so sometimes it can be helpful to talk to your employer. So think about how volunteering supports your professional development and what support they might be able to provide, and kind of allowing you to kind of free up time to focus on these kinds of activities. Lots of the kind of activities we'll talk about also have kind of commitments outside of 9 to 5, so they don't interrupt kind of your day job. And that will allow you to kind of attend things like committee meetings or accommodate teacher schedules if you're contributing to opportunities like Barefoot, or even just grabbing a coffee or having a phone call with a mentee. Whilst other opportunities in the organisation can just be really ad hoc. So we'll talk about that later, but it could just be writing an article for IT Now. Finally, you need to really think about what skills do you have, what skills do you want to learn. Volunteering should allow you to apply your strengths and share knowledge and capabilities, but also to learn new skills. What could you bring to our community, and what could you get out of it? That's a thought that I'd like to leave you with there. Right, so back over to Olivia.
Thanks very much, John. So the reason we put together this session this afternoon and the subsequent ones that are happening across the week is because, as you've probably gathered by now, there's loads of different ways that members can get more involved with BCS. And we wanted to bring all of this together, all the opportunities into one place to explain what the different activities are, how you can take action if you want to get involved, who to contact, where to sign up or apply, and so on. So we put together this brochure called Beyond Membership, and that does exactly that. So it brings together all the different ways that members can get involved with BCS activity, from the community volunteering to becoming a mentor, membership assessor, supporting educators, and lots more. So there's loads of handy links in there that will take you to the relevant information. It's just really a good central resource for signposting you. So I think the link's on the screen and will be shared in the chat as well, but you're going to get to it by My BCS, your member secure area. There's a section called Get Involved, and if you just click on that and scroll down, you'll find the link to the handbook there as well. And please do share it with other BCS members as well, people in your network, people in your branches and groups. It's a great resource to help you get started. Back over to you, John.
Thanks, Olivia. I was a bit quick on the slide change there. So the first part of volunteering that I'm just going to signpost you to now is the area that Alistair, in his kind of vice president role, looks after, and that's our community. So our community is made up of regional branches within the UK, international sections, currently 11 of those, and our specialist groups. So anything from information security, software testing, AI, to newer groups that have emerged around diversity issues, so neurodiversity, Embrace, which looks at ethnicity diversity, and so on. So we've got loads of opportunities across there, and all these groups, all these volunteers kind of collaborate to put on learning opportunities which benefit membership as a whole. So all those kind of events you see put in BCS on, those are all organised by our volunteers on our member groups and the committees which operate those. So as I say, that's about continuing to support development for our members, but also through our branch networks, our members are able to contribute into local communities, conducting outreach type activity. So that could be anything from working with your local schools or to working with local employers to understand local IT issues in your community, or it could even be looking to support people with disadvantaged backgrounds, with kind of mentoring and coaching and so on. So there's lots of stuff you could be doing either as a specialist group volunteer, which is focused on kind of practice, or focused on the kind of local issues which are important to your local communities and sections or branches. So whether that's UK or international, there's literally hundreds of opportunities for you to get involved in. I've put a link up here. I think Kerry, our Zoom admin, will put this in the chat, but I put a form here. If you complete this form, what we'll do is try to help you a bit of matchmaking. So we'll try and find out where you might be able to apply to join a committee. So there's just a couple of questions on there. So if you get a moment, please complete that, and we'll do our best to kind of connect you with a local branch or specialist group or section and try and get you involved.
Great. So I'm going to speak just briefly about the Barefoot scheme now. There is a standalone session on this tomorrow at 5:30 in the evening with John Chippendall from our Barefoot team. But I'm just going to give you a brief sort of overview of this now. So for those of you who aren't familiar with it, Barefoot is our sort of primary school scheme to help boost primary school teachers' subject knowledge, and it really is about bringing computing to life in the classroom. So as some of you probably know, most primary school teachers aren't computing specialists and have to teach all the subjects across the curriculum, and so we want to support all teachers, no matter what their sort of background and what their specialist subject is. We want to enable them to deliver a high quality computing education to the young people that they see every day. So Barefoot offers lesson plans, resources, online guides, workshops about programming, about computational thinking, and so on, all designed really to help primary schools primary school students understand the fundamentals of computing, which is going to help them solve problems and set them up for success in the digital world and beyond. So really there are two main activities that Barefoot volunteers can undertake. One of them is a bit more light touch, and this is really about promoting Barefoot through your local community, through your place of work, your job, your social media channels, and so on. And that's through our advocacy initiative. So throughout the year, as a Barefoot advocate, you'll receive like a pack, a social media pack, and lots of different materials, flyers and so on, to help you either spread the word on social media about the Barefoot programme, or by email dropping flyers to your local schools and showing them the latest resources and things like that. The second one is a bit more. So this is about delivering workshops into schools, but don't worry, you'll get lots of training and be supported along the way to do that. So you won't be expected to train teachers in computing or any technical topics. It's again really about helping to spread the word about Barefoot. So you'll be leading sort of online interactive workshops that are about an hour long, and it's about helping primary school teachers to get started with Barefoot. By volunteering your time into this and your energy and your enthusiasm, it's really going to help motivate teachers and help them make the most of Barefoot. So you'll be helping to build teachers' confidence and subject knowledge by just showing them how easy it is to bring computing to life in their classroom and do a great job of delivering the curriculum. So Barefoot have got a range of different support for people who are interested in this. You can take part in training calls and workshops to familiarise yourself with all the resources that are on offer, as well as the chance to talk with our Barefoot team and ask questions. Then there's a web portal that you can use to sign up for workshops at different times and places that suit you. And you'll be provided with the slide decks and all the materials that you need to run the workshops as well, and also some resources that you can point the school to. So it's a really good way to support time poor teachers and help them prepare loads of pupils that they see every day for success. And it's really a great chance to make an impact in your local community, whilst also obviously improving your skills and knowledge as well. So yeah, if you're interested in hearing more about that one, then sign up to the event tomorrow evening at 5:30, and yeah, have a full-on session on that one.
Thank you, Olivia. And I know that session's it's going to be involving one of the teachers who benefit from industries sharing knowledges, and also a volunteer from industry who gets a chance to kind of contribute back into their local community through kind of sharing their knowledge, which of industry, which teachers might not necessarily have that breadth of. So really great session. That's on tomorrow night. I should have just said on this evening, we've got a deep dive into our community and how to get involved in member groups. So that one's at 6 o'clock this evening. Over to our assessment. So we talked about our membership communities. We've talked about how we work in inspiration and how you can support local schools and local teachers. And I'm just going to briefly talk about how, as individuals, as members, as professionals, you're able to support the kind of upholding of professional standards to create that kind of professional industry that we all want. So assessment, so all of our kind of chartered grades and fellowship, so CITP, Chartered Engineer, and also the Cyber Certification Programme is carried out through peer assessors. So there are assessors who work on, they'll review applications in, and they'll ensure that individuals applying meet the relevant standards. So it's really kind of valuable to us to have members owning their profession. So again, this is why kind of as a volunteer peer thing, it's really critical to success of kind of continuation of ethical and professional standards. So if you're passionate about kind of supporting professional development and promoting industry standards, we've got the various roles which are available. So, you know, it might not be fellowship, or it might not be CITP or Chartered Engineer, but there are roles which should be available to you. And we offer full training for this activity as well. So there'll be a training course in which you go on to understand how to carry out assessments. But you also get a deep understanding of how we use the skills framework from the information age in doing those assessments. So even for yourself, there's a great way to kind of help understand how you can develop for using frameworks and how you can apply that to perhaps your staff or to supporting kind of people that you might decide to mentor in the future. So there's lots of kind of skills that you'll pick up in that. So it's like breadth of knowledge that assessment will give you. It will see how professionals acting in other organisations operate, and you'll be able to compare that with your own and try to develop that kind of industry best practice. But it's also just a great way to kind of meet other people. So as assessment, we'll often pair you up with other assessors and you'll be able to kind of develop that kind of professional network.
Okay, so mentoring, again, there's a deeper dive session on this on Thursday, lunchtime, I think it's 12:30, where you can hear again from some people who've had experience themselves in being a career mentor. They're just going to talk about why they offered to be a mentor, how they support their mentee, and any sort of advice for new or prospective mentors as well. But again, I'll just give you a quick overview of this. So as probably many of us already know, mentoring can really help individuals to reach their potential and is also a really valuable CPD activity, both for the mentor and the mentee as well. So BCS have got a career mentoring network platform, and that enables mentees to sort of identify potential mentors and vice versa. And the matching of the mentors and mentees together is controlled entirely by the user, and is done by sort of identifying held or desired competencies and then choosing the individuals who people feel are a good match for them. Again, you can access the BCS Career Mentoring Network through the My BCS Secure member area. But the tool is designed purely as a matching service. So once a mentor and a mentee have matched together and agreed that they'll take a mentoring relationship forward, then it's up to them to decide between them on the frequency of meetings, what sort of format you do the meetings in. Do you want to do it virtually, face-to-face, phone calls or whatever, how often, what time, and so on. So it is just a case of finding your match on the platform. When you first log into the system, you'll need to set up a bit of a profile about yourself, and whether you want to be a mentor or a mentee. You can be both. And then just a bit of information about sort of your background, your role, what skills you've got, and what you'd be looking for as well in a mentor or a mentee. And then it is simply a case of searching for someone based on things like job level, skills, sector. You can look through the profiles that are returned to you through a search and just see if they'd be a good fit for you. And then you can drop someone a note. For people who are new to mentoring, we've also provided a mentoring handbook. This is designed with first-time mentors in mind, but actually it can be used by anyone, and just covers some basic guidance on being a mentor, some pointers for establishing relationships and running sessions together, and has also got some useful sort of resources that you can use as well in your first few meetings. We are in need of as many mentors as possible because we have got many individuals who would like to be mentored, particularly through some of the new schemes that we've set up, relationships with bootcamp providers. So for those of you who don't know, these are accelerated learning schemes, partly, well, some of them are funded by the government to help people who are either out of work through COVID or are looking for a career change, and also a lot of students that we've got through that academic membership schemes as well. So even if you have like half an hour a month, I'm very sure that there are people on this call who can make a really big difference to those people's lives. So yeah, I would really encourage you to get involved as a mentor if you feel that is a good fit for you. And yeah, if you're interested in hearing more, then join us on Thursday lunchtime at 12:30. Hear from some mentors about their experiences, get some advice, and yeah, ask some questions as well. Great. And then this is just about the more different ways really that you can get involved and contribute to BCS through things like our policy voice, which you can do by attending our regular policy jams. We've actually got one tomorrow, lunchtime, which is about cyber information security with regard to the conflict in Ukraine. I can put that link in the chat if it's not being shared already. And also, obviously, you can contribute through helping us to build consultation responses to our policy work as well. And then, as already mentioned, contributing to content by becoming a guest author, helping to shape BCS future content and products by joining our member feedback panel, and supporting the next generation of professionals by offering to speak to our student groups as well. And finally, perhaps becoming a donor or a coach for our brand new bursary scheme. So details of all of those things are in that Beyond membership brochure. So do have a look and see what catches your eye. And I think that's the end of what we were going to present to you. So I hope you found that very useful. And yeah, we've got a little bit of time now for any questions or comments or anything.
Sure. So if you've got a question to ask, you can either do that by typing it in the chat or raise your hand. Interested just to hear from people to talk to kind of why you've come along today. See if you've got any comments and things that you'd like to share with the rest of the group. Love to hear from you. If there's any specifics, then please do that. Raise your hand or put it in chat, and we can take it from there. Great. Let's just see, whilst people are thinking, I might just come back to Alistair for a moment. Alistair, so I think quite often people kind of look at things like governance or being on a branch or specialist group chair committee and kind of think that there's maybe a bit of a kind of career point in which you have to hit in order to kind of contribute. What would you kind of say to those out there who are kind of maybe in their earlier to mid careers and want to get involved?
I think just dive in at the deep end, to be frank. That's going back to my point towards the end of what I was saying. In my early career, getting involved with the Prince's Trust was probably as profoundly affected my career in IT, surprisingly. But it's the soft skills I picked up from that organisation that has been incredibly valuable. And I would like to think that BCS now offers those opportunities to people in their early career. So get on and do it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to see kind of on our committees now we've got early career advocates who are there to kind of do that, informing and influencing our groups on kind of what might be more relevant to those audiences.
And I think, John, as well, I mean, in reality, people in the early stages of their career have, literally just started in the profession, but they're actually often quite at the leading edge of what's actually happening, and therefore are very much the fresh young blood that an organisation like this absolutely needs. So their input is very valuable to us as well.
Absolutely. Just one quick question from Alan. So he's just got one concern that as a retired person, a bit worried about his knowledge maybe being outdated. You don't want to fill a kind of role of younger members. Outdated advice. Have you got any kind of thoughts on what you can bring perhaps if you're retired?
Are you addressing that to me, I'm presuming?
Yeah,
John?
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think a huge amount. I mean, one of the strange realities of our profession is that as you become more senior, you move away from the sort of day-to-day aspects of the tech job. So it doesn't surprise me that you might feel that, knowledge might be a problem. I don't think it is. It's the experience that you bring of coping with that, knowing what you don't know and managing that is extremely important in so many ways.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think. Yeah. Sorry, John. You were going to say.
Yeah, I think just to add on really as well that there's lots of roles on these committees, and there's lots of different roles in this kind of the mentoring or Barefoot or so on, and that actually kind of having the free time that being retired allows is really valuable, because lots of our kind of in-career professionals are having to kind of take time out of their day job to do this. So to play a kind of supporting role, to help kind of organise events, to help with issuing the communications at a committee and so on can also just be really helpful. So it's more like just being a part of a team. So if you might feel like your knowledge is outdated, well, being a part of the committee will help you to update your knowledge. There'll be lots of things which you'll learn, but also there's a chance for you to kind of support some in-career professionals who might not be, or might be slightly more time poor on that one. We've got a couple more comments in here. So we've got, I think Kim was commenting that it's quite new to the BCS community. So welcome, Kim, and you've taken a really great step and kind of coming along to the session to kind of get, as soon as you become a member, to start to kind of get more involved. Because I think, as Alistair said, it was, the more you put in, the more you get out, I think, with kind of the relationship with a professional body and BCS membership. So you're on a great first step, and looking forward to you joining our mentoring session later this week. Got a couple more comments, so let me just read through those. Super. So we've got Steve, who's been partaken as a mentor internally, and he's looking forward to kind of, getting more involved in kind of BCS. So really appreciate that. And also looking to kind of run kind of workshops with external companies. You found that also helpful. That's great to hear. Graham, well, Graham's just responding to his question on the on joining committee. So really great to hear that you're kind of interested in getting more involved. Make sure you come along to one of the sessions that you're really interested in across this week, because that'll kind of give you the more kind of time commitments and understanding of what skills you can learn and kind of what you can contribute. So please do come along to that one. This one's, sorry, Olivia, I'm feeling a bit leaving you out here, but this one's community related. So I'll pass it on to Alistair. Alev has asked about kind of contributing to technology and law.
I just sent him the link to the Law SG as well.
Oh, super. So we've got one of those. So we've got a group which focuses on law. We also have a group which looks at ICT ethics as well. And so the two can be actually quite close, and there's different ways you can contribute there. So there's definitely going to be opportunities there for you.
They're both very vibrant groups too.
Very fine. Good. Super. And so the remaining questions are really just, can we share more slides, share more information? Fantastic. So yeah, we are recording this session for those who have asked. So we'll be making this available to the wider membership. And we'll also be recording the sessions in the evenings and afternoons, and kind of releasing that as a package. So what we'll do is everyone who's registered will make sure you receive kind of copies of the session, so you can either look back on it yourself or perhaps share with colleagues. Otherwise, it just takes me to really kind of thank Olivia and Alistair for joining us today, and thank you all for taking your kind of first step and getting involved more with BCS. Really hope that I see a few more of these names kind of taking part in some volunteering activities, and wish you all the very best. Thank you. Cheers all.